Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm a guy called Joe and this is Bootstrapping Tools. This video, we're doing a let's build, but before we dive into building together, please make sure to check out our YouTube channel where you can find a vast array of videos that talk about many different applications, Google Sheets, Google Data Studio, Retool, as well as many others. And we've also curated them into their own playlist to make it easier for you to find them. Now today, we're going to be talking about Retool and integrating that with Airtable. This is actually part 4 of a multi-part series. If you missed parts 1 through 3, please check out the description for links to parts 1, 2, and 3, where we go over the initial setup of the application in Retool, as well as building out a couple of different components that lead up to what we're going to have as a full product catalog or product information management system. So diving right into it, where we left off last time was building out the furniture details section. So you can see here we got the vendors list, the furniture list, and then the furniture details. So when we click on a vendor, it's going to load up all the furniture that is underneath that specific vendor. And then when we click on one of the furniture items, it's going to populate all the furniture detail that we have for that piece of furniture. And all this data is being powered by Airtable. And we're using the product catalog template that they have so that we can use this data to play around with. And of course, if you have checked it out already, make sure you take a look at the API data or the reference guide that they have for APIs, which is curated to your specific Airtable base. So what we're going to do today is we're going to clean this up a little bit. If you notice in the beginning, if I refresh this, you're going to see that there's a lot of information that's already displayed on there, even though there's no data actually being sent to it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make it so that we don't see all of this kind of dirtiness, because the end user might think that it's not working properly, that there might be an error, when in reality we just need to make sure we're clicking on things. So very kind of basic UX-y type of stuff that we're going to do. So click on the edit app icon in the upper right and let's dive into it here. So the feature that we're going to utilize is actually the hide when true function. So when we use this, it's going to allow us to set things to be visible or invisible depending on a dynamic state. So this state here, a couple of different ways we can do this. We're going to start off with doing it by taking a look at the furniture click data. And then if that is null, then we're not going to show it. So you can see here, when I did this, it says Boolean is true, which means that there is no data because we haven't clicked on a piece of furniture yet. And we're going to go over to the furnitures container. We're going to do the same thing, but instead of doing the furniture click data, we're going to do the vendor click data. So vendor click handler.data, double equal sign, because you're doing a comparison here. And we're going to do null, and that should Boolean to true. So currently true, and so it's hidden. I don't know if you can notice that, but when I scroll into it, you're going to see that's the little eye icon, the little eyeball, and it's got a little cross over it or a little line to indicate that it's unseen. So when I click on the vendor icon over here, what's going to happen is the furnitures container is going to show up just like that. And then once the furniture loads up and then I click on one of those, the furniture detail container is going to show up. So click on that. And then pops all the information that we want. That way it's nice, it's easy, it's cleaner. Now what we are going to have to do as well is, you notice if we click on a vendor, the information is still going to show up even though we haven't selected a new product yet. So this is showing the wrong information. We want to reset that. So there's something in Retool called states or temporary states, and we're going to make use of that. You can actually find the temporary states by clicking over here, the little icon up on the top. That's the left window pane. And there's a temporary state up top over here. So let's zoom in on here. I'm going to hit on create new, and then we're going to call this state something completely different. So let's zoom out a little bit. When you click on that, your right hand side, that panel is going to pop out. This is state 1 right now. We're going to call this show detail, and then the initial value is going to be false. So we can leave that. So initial value is false. Is that the right way? No, initial value is true. So we want to default it to true because when we look at the furniture detail container, hide when true. So that's the indicator there. So that's why when we look at the show detail, we want the initial value to be true so that when we load up the application is going to default to true. So we'll go ahead and click on the furniture detail, and then let's change the hide when true option over to show detail dot value. So right now it's set to true, which means that it is hidden as indicated by the little eyeball next to that, that component name. So now we can leave the furniture container one as is, because when we select new containers, it's going to kind of overwrite everything in here anyway, so that's fine. What we want to do though is we want to make it so that when we click on an image, it's going to update that state. So we're going to go over to the event handlers over here, click on new, and then instead of triggering a query, we're going to go ahead and say set temporary state. So once we click on that, we're going to select the state that we want to edit. It's going to be the show detail, and then we're going to set the value to false. So when we set the value to false, what's going to happen is we click on the furniture icon, and then it's going to evaluate that to false, which then should show the furniture detail container. Not done yet. So going back to the vendors, for clicking on an image over here, we're going to want to do the same thing, but instead of setting the temporary state to false, we're going to want to set that temporary state to true. So set temporary state. For show detail, I'm going to set the value to true. So this is all looking pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and preview. Now the first thing is when we load up the application, we should see only the vendors container, like so. And then once we click on one of these, then it's going to show the furniture list, like so. Perfect, everything working as expected. And then let's select one of the products, and then that should display the details container along with all the information about that particular product. Now if we click on another product here, it should still remain open, which is perfect. That's still showing up just nicely. And then if we click on Dynamically Design, we expect that it's going to close the furniture details container, so the right container over here on the side. And then the furniture list is going to remain the same. So let's click on that. Perfect. It's doing exactly what we want it to do. And then we click on one of these, and it's going to show that up again. That way, this is a much cleaner experience for your end users or for yourself if this is just for you. And you can apply this to basically any other application that you have. So just remember, it's really powerful to have click functionality. So make sure you have click handlers in there to do things that you want to do, and then set the temporary state, which is in the left panel, and you can set, change, you can use the temporary state for basically anything. Be creative with it, who knows. But if you do find a way, or you're not sure if you have a way of using it, leave a comment in the section below. I'll help you brainstorm of ways that you can use a temporary state for whatever you're trying to do. So don't be shy, drop a comment. But back to this. So let's close out that left panel. We don't need that right now. What we want to do though is, this is a pet peeve of mine, the fact that everything is not the same height. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm gonna click on Dynamically Design. Let's pick a product here, and let's take a look at some of the information that we have. Let's zigzag rug, why not? Haven't looked at that one. So it's gonna open that up. It's got settings, and then we want some way to make this all about the same height. I think it's fine if things are a little. So I think when it loads up, it's about like this. So we can make this a little shorter and this a little taller. So these are all hugging content. So let's go ahead and just bring this down a little bit. And then we can also bring this down a little bit. So should we bring this up back? And I think the colors actually showed a bunch, but that's okay. I'll clean this up later. Okay, so it's got in-stock dimensions. We got these guys. This is the settings. It doesn't really tell us what the settings are. So maybe there's a better way that we might want to do this. We can save it for another day. That's fine. For now, this is working out pretty nicely. What we want to do here is we want to kind of highlight some additional information that we might have or might want to show. So we have furniture, vendors, clients, client orders, and the order line items. So let's talk about the orders. It's always important to show people if there are orders for a particular product at that time. So we have client orders, and these are specific clients. So we're going to have different options in there, or different products in there. And it looks like the way the data set is here like format it. It's that the order line items is actually what is important here. So going to order line items, we have price per unit. So we have the Madrid chair, the pixelated rug. These are all specific furniture items. And then we have the furniture ID and the order ID, the amount, the quantity, all that. So we're gonna wanna make a call to the order line items, and we can match it on the furniture ID. And then for the client orders, I think we need anything here? We need, there's an invoice here. So probably want to use the invoice because I think it'd be nice to display the invoice to the end users as well. And we can talk about the fulfill by and all that. So let's go over to the API records here. So we have furniture table, which we don't need to use. We want the order line items. So this is similar to the other API calls that we did for the furniture and the vendors. We get the list of records. It's just going to be order line items with space in between, which when you encode it, it becomes a %20. So we can go ahead and let's take this and then copy it and go back over to our editor. Let's pop open the bottom tray, expand that, and then we can actually, let's duplicate the vendors one. And then we can call this order line items. And we'll bring that up so that it's nicely organized. In the set of vendors, we're going to say order line items, and then we're going to filter by furniture ID. So let's say furniture click handler dot data dot 0 dot ID, and then instead of 0, it's going to be I. And then we're going to do lower. So we're doing lower on both just to, do we need lower for both? No, because this is an ID, so we're not going to need that. And the reason that we don't want it to be lower is because we're getting the data from the actual like click event. So it's already going to give us the ID for that furniture ID, order line items, for that furniture ID, and then we're going to match it to the furniture ID field here. So going back here, the name is going to be furniture underscore ID. Okay, so let's preview that. And then we have some results. These are records are 0. So then the question is, why are the IDs 0? So furniture ID, so this is the, so searching for that. And what we're gonna do, maybe we have to do is array join, because the furniture IDs, if there might be multiple. Let's see if that works. Preview, invalid filter formula. Oh, missing a parentheses there. Do that, still no records. Maybe it's because we can't use the 0 here. Let's try that. Nope, still nothing. Interesting. So we have furniture click handler data.id, and then doing the furniture ID and order line items. Doing a search. Oh, of course, so silly. It doesn't have to be that there is actually something that was ordered for this particular product. Here, let's find the product that we know was ordered. Let's the first one, Madrid chair. Okay, so Madrid chair, are you a dime? Okay, it is. So we're gonna click on this. And then, okay, great. So we have some results here. And just to check, I want to see if the I actually worked here, if we did it like that. Do I, and then preview. Okay, that still works. Good, okay. So, and then I think we needed the array, but let's just check on that as well. Might as well while we're doing it, right? Okay, so we needed the array. And that is because you can have multiple records. Okay, great. So this works. Yeah, so you can see that the furniture item, there. And then furniture ID is an array, and that's why we need the array join, so that when we're doing the search, we're taking the string for that ID and then searching it through also a string, because the array join formula in Airtable will take the array and then formulate a string from that. So now we have our order information. So what we're going to do with the order information is we're going to display it somewhere. The only question is, where should we display it? So here, let's close this back up. Let's actually save this and run it. And then close this guy up. I saw records 0, 0. Why did that happen? Maybe? Okay, yeah, that's showing data. Okay, that's fine. Probably just a flip. All right, so what we want to do is we want to display the order information. So the question is, if we were going to display orders, how would we want to display the orders? We can do, I think all the information here is pretty nice right now. So maybe what we'll do is we'll have a little order button or something like that. So let's give ourselves a little bit of room on the side here for little action buttons. What we'll do is we'll add in a button here. And then we're going to say the button is view orders. And then looks like the text is a little big. So can we make it smaller? Make it what? No, no markdown here. Sure, we'll just say orders for now. Oh wait, no, we don't want a regular button. We want a modal. So let's insert a modal. It's going to default to open modal. We're going to say orders. Can we view orders? Oh, that fits in this one. All right, so we have view orders. And then when we click on it, it's going to open this up. The modal itself, let's say the modal width is 70%. Let's give ourselves a little bit of room here so that's nice and wide. And then within the modal, let's add in a table and display the orders information. So it's already our displaying order line items. So no rows found right now. When we run this, there are records, but it's empty. Okay. So let's close this out first. We said the Madrid chair definitely had. So click on this again. We'll click on view orders. I thought there were records before, so we hit that. It's because the I is unavailable. Let's do 0. Let's see if this works. Save and run this. It's running and it displays information. Okay, so that's good. This is working. And then I think the I only works when you're using a list view. Let's say .data.records. So now it's going to display all that, and then we want the fields. Oh, there's 2 records. So if there's 2 records, we're going to want to clean this up a little bit. So let me think about this. So maybe what we want to do is we're going to want to take the data from the call and then transform it a little bit. So great, I'm going to use transformers today, guys. Order line items. Go down here. And then we're going to enable transformer. And what we're going to do is we're only going to take the information from the fields data. So let's go ahead and call this var data. So for variable data, and then for what we're going to do is we'll make this an array, empty array for now. And then for the records, we'll do a for statement. For I equals 0, I is less than, not data, I is equal to, oh wait, no, data is already being used, so we can't use data. We have to use metadata. Data dot records dot length. Right, I think that makes sense. And then we will do I plus plus. And there, that's an extra parenthesis, so we'll move that. Data dot records I. So we're going to do metadata dot push. So we're essentially pushing into the metadata array the records, and it's records I dot fields, because we only care about the fields and not necessarily the information like the ID and stuff like that. So we're going to return metadata. So let's preview this. Bring this up. So furniture item belongs to that. Furniture price. Okay, I think this looks good. So close this. We're going to save and run. It's down. This is refreshing by itself. What happened? Oh, whoops. Okay. There, that should be better. Okay, great. That's exactly what I wanted. So let's minimize this, give us a little bit more room here. Our furniture item, don't care about that. Don't care about that. I think the quantity is good. I think the name is probably good as well. Price per unit, also good. Let's actually change that to a currency type. Do we have money? USD and dollars. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing for total cost. The dollars. We don't care about the image or the furniture ID or the order ID. So this looks good. So let's make this a little easier to read. And then I wonder if you can add modals to modals. Doesn't hurt to try, right? Let's do a custom column here. And then this column is going to be, do you have modal here? It's going to be, oh, look at that, a modal. Open a modal. And we're going to call this invoice. Okay, background color, none of that. Let's center this. Disable sorting. Sure, looks good. So now it's that. No problem. Okay, so we got our modal that opens when you open the modal. So we can do, let's see, hold up. What do these invoices look like? So they're within the client orders table. So let's make that let's make that API call, and then we'll see what the data looks like. So let's open up the bottom tray again. Plop this open. Can actually close this modal. Let's make let's duplicate this, and then what we're going to call this is client orders. Change this to client %20 orders, and then instead of the click handler ID, we are going to want this to be the select table selected row. So that table, we only have one table, that data dot order ID. Yeah, I think that sounds right. And then array join I think it's ID. So yeah, ID over here. Perfect. So we run this, we should get something back. Okay, awesome. And just a real quick note, since we duplicated it, it's already doing the metadata stuff, so it's already getting the records and then the fields back. So Airtable is pretty consistent with that. It's always going to be ID created at and then fields for every record that gets returned. So now that we have that, in here there's invoice, and then there's a URL, and this is a PDF file. So when we open up this modal, let's minimize this a little bit. When we open up the modal, we want a PDF to display. So we put a PDF in here. Let's make the PDF full width. And then we can make the modal a little wider. And we're selecting the right thing. This is the table. Click this, click open. I guess I can't select the modal to adjust the width of it. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so client orders, file URL is client orders. I'm gonna save this. Dot data, dot the first one, dot invoice, dot first one, dot URL. All right, and this is displaying the invoice now. Great. So we have this. This is all kind of funny looking though. Alright, so now we have a modal within a modal, which is not too bad. Let's clean this up a little bit though. I wonder, there should be a way that we can adjust the size of this. So let's open up the left panel. Maybe there's a way here because we can. So which invoice modal is this going to be? It's PDF viewer. There's modal 1. So what modal is this going to be called? Here's column. Calculation is open. It's a modal. I guess maybe you can't. That's surprising. Yeah, because this is just a PDF viewer. And a modal 1 is the orders information. That's fine. We've come a long way. Let's go ahead and test this out before we move any further. Make sure that we've cleaned everything up. So hit the preview button, and now we're going to see the vendors, nothing else. And then once the vendors load up, we can click on one of them, and then the furniture list is going to show. And then from there, once that loads up, we're going to click on one of the items, and then the furniture details will show. And then from here, we get all the information, the colors, the materials used, whether or not it's in stock, and then we can view the orders for it. So when we click on that, modal pops up, and we'll see if we have orders. If there isn't, rows are found. We can X out of that. I think the one that did have orders, here, let's pick another one that had orders. Let's say Samari bookshelf. I saw that just up here. So click on that. So beautiful bookshelf. Let's take a look at the orders. We got one order from the Forest Legal Partners. They ordered 5 of them. So the total cost is $17K. Price per unit is $35.85. We can open up the invoice to take a look at what's going on in there. We can zoom in if we want to. But the invoice shows within this view and we can X out. The modal itself, you don't have to use a modal within a modal. You can probably, have that just select, and then you can see the invoice down below. Could do that, but we're up at about 30 minutes here. I think this is a good place to leave it. We've done a lot here. We've cleaned it up so that the user experience is really nice. We rearranged everything for the layout. We added in a modal for the view orders. We added in 2 API calls over to Airtable so we can pull information from them. And then we made a modal within a modal. So now the next thing that we're going to do is be able to change some of the information that we want. So we're going to start making post requests over to Airtable, but that's going to be the next part. So make sure that you check that out. If you did run into any problems with this section with part 4, please feel free to drop a message in the comment section below. We're always here to help, so don't be shy. Guys, if you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button, smash it. That is one of the easiest ways to support this channel. If you do like the content that we're putting out there, just takes one click, and it's a really big help to us. Also, don't forget, hit the subscribe button as well. This is a multi-part series, and we're also releasing a lot of other videos, community support videos, concept videos, all of that to help you, you scrappy bootstrapper you. We're helping you become more of an entrepreneur, or just to, wow your colleagues at work, showing them all the cool stuff that you can do with these low code platforms, and these skill sets and creativity that you have. So hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, get notified of new videos that we're going to release. Of course, hit the like button to help other folks just like you, other bootstrappers, find these videos and learn more about how they can up their game, become even better than before. But this has been a pleasure. I'm a guy called Joe. This is Bootstrapping Tools, and this was part 4. If you missed the other parts, check out the description. But otherwise, it's been a pleasure, and I'm out.